Everybody's heads.
Good afternoon, evening, you guys. Thank you for being here. Maybe some more show up. But I'm just happy to have the occasion for Dr. Chase Hayden to talk to us. And I think one of the main reasons we come to yoga is to get out of pain, stay mobile, balanced, agile, strength, and all that, and we're accomplishing those goals. But sometimes we have a situation that doesn't move on through, and so Chase is just a prime person to help with those situations. So I'm not going to take any of his time. He can elaborate on his background and all, and just enjoy. Thank you, Chase.
All right. All right, everybody. It's good to see some familiar faces. Good to see some new people here as well. Like Barbara said, my name is Chase. I'm a doctor of chiropractic, a quantum neurologist, and an applied clinical nutritionist. So in my office, basically what we try to do is help people structurally, neurologically, and nutritionally, regardless of what's going on. So I run a functional medicine practice. Even though I'm a chiropractor, I see a lot of people with back pain and like headaches and car wrecks and whatnot. But I see a very large percentage of people that have other stuff, like athletes trying to get better in their particular fields, or people with fibromyalgia that, they just want to go back to church and hang out with their friends again, or people that have hormone problems or whatever. And when we take an upstream approach to health and try and look at the body structurally, neurologically, and nutritionally, and treat the person for who the person is, we tend to have a better result than if I just sit there and say, well, you have, arthritis in your low back, let me treat you like every other arthritis patient in the world. Because for some people, arthritis is a degenerative situation due to trauma. Sometimes it's due to dietary habits. Sometimes it's due to hormone imbalance, or a wide variety of combination in between. So our goal is to first identify what's going on with each individual, and then tailor the program specifically to them to see what's going on to help them out. And so a lot of times when I come to events like this, people have questions just about their own particular life, or their friend that's not here that they want to talk and ask questions about. So whoever it is, we'll hopefully answer as many questions as you can eventually. But the long and short of it comes down to, when we do something like this, my goal is to show you how you guys can help yourselves to become healthier. Yoga is one of the best things you can do from a personal responsibility standpoint, to go out and just do something, become more active, create the stability, do the flexibility, work on the breathing, do those types of things. It's a phenomenal activity to do in order to help you improve your level of health. There's some other at-home exercises you can do, like foam rolling. Have you ever tried doing that before? Foam rolling is a great thing to just kind of flush out some of the tissue, to move stuff around, and it's a good at-home thing you can do to get things moving. Sometimes the foam roller is too big, or we're not able to get it to the spot we want. So I tell all my patients to go get a lacrosse ball. You buy them at Academy for like $3 or $4.
I have some over there.
Okay, cool. So use a lacrosse ball, and you get like the smaller areas of your shoulders or your necks or things, and you can just kind of massage these areas out. Great at-home activities that you can do to help lower pain, increase function, in conjunction with everything else you're doing, whether it's a good healthy diet, or good meditation and relaxation techniques, or yoga, or walking, or whatever it might be. But sometimes, in the very rare situations where your normal activities, your normal diet, your normal everything doesn't get you where you want to be, people like me step in and we try and help you guys out to get yourself to overcome the pain, or to get function back, or whatnot. When Paul and I were first originally discussing the concept of me coming out today, we were talking a lot about maybe guy-specific activities, so golfers and tennis players and fishermen and stuff like that. And I see a lot of those people in my practice. In fact, earlier this year I was invited to go up to Tacoma, Washington to participate in the U.S. Open. So I've treated a professional golfer, and he qualified, and he called me up and he's like, hey Chase, let's go to Tacoma. I was like, sure, why not? So he flew me up to Tacoma for a couple of days. I worked on him before each round, after each round, and I had all these cool golf stories that I was going to tell that may not be so applicable today. so that's okay though. But things we can do can not only help people stay out of pain, but they can help improve performance as well. So that individual, he had myself, who works with him from a neurologic standpoint, a structural standpoint, but he also had his personal trainer, who came over and ran through about 6 to 12 yoga positionings and poses, and then went through some strengthening and rehab exercises with bands and balls, and then he went out and started swinging. And that was his routine before every activity he ever did, whether it was a practice round or the U.S. Open on day one. He had his trainer, they got their warm-up stuff in, they centered themselves, they worked on breathing, they worked on mechanics, and then I was there to tweak anything that we needed to do, just to get him to where he needed to be for performance standpoint. don't know if you ever watched the US Open, but he did better than Tiger Woods. So it's gotta be good. I know. So you actually know something about golf then. So it happens to be that Tiger Woods did terrible in that golf. And like only 3 people didn't do better than him. But for everybody in my office that came through and said, oh yeah, he did better than Tiger, they were all really impressed. But he didn't do as well as we wanted him to though. But and other times, I've worked with tennis players. So the US Masters, not the US Masters, the US Men's Clay Court Championship happens every year here in Houston, if y'all didn't know that. And it's, professional tennis players, clay court championships, it's a big deal. Well, they had me come out for like 4 years in a row to be their team doctor, to work on the players and the staff and people like that. It's because what we do covers the gambit from housewives to soccer moms to professional athletes. Because when you eat right, when you move right, when you sleep right, your performance is going to get better. So we're going to talk a little bit about performance and just how neurology in our everyday life can affect us and help us to overcome pain. But in order to do that, I need a volunteer. Does anybody want to volunteer to come up here? You got it? All right. Have a seat right here for me. You have pain. I'm Chase, by the way. We met briefly before. Glenn, right?
Yes.
All right, good, Glenn. Where do you have pain?
It's lower back and leg.
Lower back and leg. Okay, stand up for me. Let's try something. We're going to move this out of the way. We're going to just look at basic neurology and see what something in the neurologic world might do to help someone like you get better with pain. So let's have you look this way. And just out of curiosity, if you go down and touch your toes, go as far as you can comfortably before you hurt. No problems there. No problems?
No.
All right, that's pretty good. If you lean backward, does that hurt anything? No problem. Okay, turn this way for me. Your whole body.
No.
Feet that way too. Sorry.
Oh.
Stay facing. Now lean this way like you're sliding your hand down your leg. Does that hurt anything?
Not really.
Okay, and go this way. Does that hurt anything?
No.
So range of motion more or less doesn't hurt, but yet you have pain sometimes.
So, yes.
What seems to bother you the most?
What happens is when I start walking, I start to get a pain in my leg here. It radiates out and goes to the back.
Okay, so when walking, which is the trigger, which all of us should be able to walk, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully without issues. He starts to have an injury or her starts to have a problem.
Yeah.
So here, just a normal resting state, he can move, no major issue. So let's just see what happens when you turn your whole body facing that way for me. Just take a step with your foot as if you're going somewhere, but freeze. All right, stop. We, as people that walk on 2 feet, have a cross-crawl mechanism in our body. Cross-crawl basically means when we walk, one arm goes forward, one arm goes back for balance. Opposite leg goes forward, opposite leg goes back for balance. Does that make sense? You've all seen someone walk before where they do this? Good. From a neurologic standpoint, if that mechanism is broken, we're more likely to have pain when we walk and when we move. So let's just see what happens. I like to use muscle testing whenever I evaluate people because it gives me an idea as to how their nerves are telling their body what to do. So to begin with you not moving your feet, just stand straight. Take this arm like so, elbow straight. Now you're a big guy. I'm not as big of a guy. Don't try and kill me, but lightly press your arm that direction. Does that feel strong to you? Feels like it just locks into place, right? No problem. And no pain when you did that?
No.
Cool, let's do it this way. Arm this way, and now push toward me. All right, good strong muscle, no major issue. Just out of curiosity, lift this leg up to the sky. Push up. Oop. Let's try that one more time. Able to hold strong, no major issue. A little bit of something in the hip, but able to hold strong. Let's do the other leg. Push up. Did that hurt your hip too? No. Okay. So we've got some strong muscles, a little bit of something whenever he just goes to lift up his leg. Let's see what happens when he does this. Good. In a walking pattern, this arm would normally come forward, which would mean this arm's probably supposed to be strong neurologically because his body's saying, I'm moving that direction, I'm bringing this arm forward, muscle, turn on and work. So let's see and make sure that it still works. Push that way. Still works to me. Keep your arm there. This muscle is being told to turn off, and this muscle is being told to turn on. So that's where he's at in his normal walking pattern, right? Which means, if I were to test, relax this arm here, should this be strong or should this be weak? If this leg is forward and he's walking forward, this should probably not work because neurologically it's supposed to be behind him. Let's see what happens. Push into my hand. Would we assume proper neurologic function or possibly not proper neurologic function. If, when he walks, he should be here, should be weak, should be in the back, but yet when we pull it up and test it, it's still strong. Hands up if you think that's working like it should. Uh-oh. Hands up if you think it may need to be improved a little bit. Possibly needs to be improved a little bit. So let's see if we can do something with it. All I want you to do is just squeeze your teeth together like this, but not enough to where you break anything. By him squeezing his teeth together, we activate some stuff up here, and up here is where nerves come down and talk to this. So let's see if we can create a change. Teeth together and hold. Whoa. Try that again. Ready? Teeth together and hold. All right, does that feel strong or weak to you?
It felt weak.
Felt weak. But weak is actually what we were wanting right here. Because neurologically, go and stand in a normal position. Neurologically, when he walks, and this arm's supposed to come forward, that's fine, it should be strong. But neurologically, when he goes this way, this should not be turned on. Which means if it is, like we just saw that it was, his brain is trying really hard to figure out what's going on. And when it's not able to do the right thing, we're more likely to have loss of function, more pain, loss of motion, some type of symptom. From a neurologic, just challenging standpoint, we had him activate some nerves up here that talk to this, and whenever he overrode that neurologic reflex, his body went back to test inappropriately. So all we need to do is have him walk around like this all the time, and he'll walk properly, right? No, I'm just joking. We don't want to do that.
Just have my wife talking to me.
So we're going to try something. In my office, I sometimes use instruments like this. As a chiropractor, sometimes I crack people's necks and things, but sometimes I do this. This machine just thumps a little bit. It doesn't hurt. It just, just taps like that. So what I want you to do is go to that same stance. This leg's going forward. No, I'm sorry, I changed my mind. Other leg going forward. This arm should go there. This arm should go back here. This should be weak, but it wasn't. We're just going to stimulate those nerves where they come out. Deep breath in for me, and all the way out. And deep breath in, and all the way out. Go and relax. So now, go ahead and take this foot and step forward again. Good. Oh, sorry, this arm. Without putting your teeth together, push your arm toward me. Try that again. We didn't fix it yet. Otherwise it would have gone weak, right? That's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to unwind his nervous system to figure out what might work and what might. Because if he's got pain when he walks, but he doesn't have pain when he sits here and just moves around, we got to figure out where his body is breaking down during that process. So we're just experimenting some. We're going to do one last thing. So go ahead and go into that position one more time. Other foot.
All right, yeah.
That way.
I have to go through the whole thing.
Push here. Still not doing it. Teeth gently together again and hold. Yeah, there's something still there. We're going to go higher up in his neck a little bit because we did lower neck the first time. Deep breath in and out. And deep breath in and out. Different how? It hurt?
No, it just continued or
Oh,
something.
okay. Neat. Push with my hand. Is your mouth together or don't put your mouth together and hold? All right. So we see a difference there. What I want you to do next, this leg was really the only pain symptom we got was when it lifted up. Let's just see if that changed by tapping on his neck. Let's have you lift this leg up. And now push. And push. Did that hurt your hip that time?
No, I just feel on that side.
You're broken. We gotta send you back.
Yeah, we'll work through it.
No, I was just joking. Go and have a seat for just a second. But when we start looking at neurology, we can start trying to break down the body in a different way than what we typically think. A lot of times, if you've ever been to a chiropractor, you go in, you lay on your belly, you get cracked a couple times, you go home. And that might work for certain people in certain situations. In this situation, though, when he sits here and goes in different directions, it doesn't hurt. It only starts to bother him when he's moving. So our goal would be to try and fix him or support his nervous system in those positions when it's worse. Whenever I was talking about going to Washington with the golfer, I didn't just lay him on his belly and crack him a bunch of times. He brings in his golf clubs, with his golf shoes, with his hat that he's wearing, with the belt he's wearing. He dresses 100% ready for the game. And we go out into the field, he takes the club, puts it in his hand, and I start muscle testing him from here. Then he goes into his backswing, and I start muscle testing him from here. Then we stick it like as he's slapping the ball, and we put a little bit of resistance, and I muscle test him there. And then we do his follow through. And I find stuff in different positions, different for him in each way. With each club. We do the 9-iron, then we do the driver, then we do the putter, we do all these different positions, because each time we do that, his nervous system has to adapt and change based off of the needs that it needs to go through in order to perform at the level he wants to. And it's not different from walking down the road, because sometimes in this position we're fine, but in this position we're not, and in this position we change. So we have to figure out in which way does someone potentially need their help. And that's why our at-home exercises are such a big deal. Because if we go home and do the exact same foam roller on the thigh every single time in the same way, it may not get us the result we're looking for. But if we know that every time we do this position, it bothers us, well, now we can start trying to do our at-home exercises in that position that can reinforce what we're trying to support. And therefore, foam roll it here, or we'll cross ball here, or whatever it might be, in the area where we become dysfunctional. But we're not going to leave you alone. We're going to come up here and try and do some more stuff with you, if that's all right. Because sometimes you need to see what it's like whenever you're in different positions. Let's have you lie down on your belly with your head that way. You said most of the time you feel it on this side, going down this direction?
Yes, it's in the front of the leg and at the right.
Okay, so let's just see what happens. Hold your leg just like that. Gently bring your ankle towards your bottom. Does that hurt anything when you do that?
I feel it in the hamstring.
You feel it in your hamstring, but is it pain or is it like you're activating?
Like I'm activating.
Okay, let's try this side and see what happens. And hold. Does that hurt anything?
Mm.
So do you feel like you're activated here more or less than here?
It feels like I'm about to pull the hamstring when it's pushing up.
Okay, so this seems like you're straining a little bit more, or something's not quite the same like it was on this side.
Right.
Okay. So if we come over here and just attempt to do something where the hamstring attaches to your bum, I'm going to take this and jab on it. Does that hurt anything?
No.
Okay. If we do this now, hold for me, push from. Does that feel like it's about to be pulled again like it was before?
Not at first, but toward the end.
Toward the end. Okay. So we're just going to mess around a little bit, and we're going to try and get his structure and his neurology to work better, to where something like pulled hamstrings or low back pain or sciatica type issues don't appear to be going screwy. You just see what happens. Hold for me. How'd that feel that time?
No.
No problem?
When you let go, it felt it eventually.
Okay, cool. Take this leg and lift it straight up, just like that. Does that hurt?
No.
Don't let me move it. That does okay. Go and relax. Let's try this side. And don't let me move it. Okay, relax. Now this is going to be the hardest one we probably do today. Let's have you roll your legs like this. Don't let me push you over. That did really well. Go and relax. Let's have you try this side. And don't let me pull you over. That was really good. Let's have you take this arm, just straight out to the side like this. Push up at the sky. No, I'm sorry. Drop all that. Push this arm up to the ceiling. Good. Let's have you take your arm up like you're swimming. Just like that. Now don't let me move your arm. We think that's a good, strong thing, or maybe not so good like we want it to. Did it look strong? Let's try it again. Did it feel strong? Did it feel strong? So these are just core rotation muscles. Like we talked about before, when you're a crawl person, you have to torque your core and move. And if we can't engage the muscles and make them do what they're supposed to, we're more likely to have pain, weakness, loss of function, loss of performance. Take this arm, stick it straight out, push up, good and strong from there, roll up like you're swimming, and don't let me move it now. Does that look good to you guys? Let's try one more time, just in case you weren't watching. Yeah. Just doesn't seem to work. Go and relax. So, in my office, I would go through a whole bunch of crazy fancy things to try and figure out what I would do to fix that. I'm just going to try and pound it on his back a couple times with this and see what happens. So, I'm going to say it's a little bit more scientific and specific in the office. When you're in front of a bunch of people and you're trying to wow the crowd and wow the person on the table, it gets a little bit off the hip. This arm out, lift it up, just like that. Don't let me move it. Now, why did I go there? It just happens that a lot of people have that issue when that weakness pattern shows up. So I tap it there. We're trying to mess with his neurologic system. Hold there, don't let me move it, so that he responds more appropriately. Does that feel stronger to you? Did it look stronger to you guys? Okay, it felt a little bit different. Let's have you sit up facing the front. And stand up. And walk around for me for just a little bit, but don't go off camera. I'm just walk around just a little bit and see just kind of where you would feel it. So as you're walking, what are you feeling? Where in your back? Where is it going down your leg?
Again, it takes about a quarter mile.
Okay, keep
to
going
a
in
half
circles.
mile.
I'll keep going in about
Okay.
20 minutes. We'll go.
We're good.
I'm gonna go to Pedersen's, I'll be back in about 20
Good.
minutes.
All right, so come back over here real quick before we went.
Like I said, walking up to the Texans game from the Maroon lot,
Okay.
it starts to hurt. Walking back hurts even more.
Well, if it hurts to go to the game, you can just pass those tickets to me.
Well,
So that
you
you
know
don't
how
have to
this
be
works.
injured.
I mean, if I can make it to the game, you're tired. You know?
There you go. Let's have you take that foot and step forward again. This was our original test, our first starting point of seeing do things work well or do they not? We want to confirm that we didn't break anything. Good, that still seems to work okay. Push this way. And that goes really weak like we want it to. I'm going to call it good for now from a demonstration standpoint, but for his particular situation, it wasn't something like it was jumping off the charts when he was just moving in his normal stationary situation. He had to be doing something specific, so we had to try and test him in something specific. Now, the reason I laid him down on his belly is because when he brings one leg up and starts twisting it, that's very close to a walking pattern, but face down. I can't do that test very efficiently, though, when he's standing up where everybody spins and we look like we're in the ballet. So we put him on the floor, but did basically cross-crawl activities to see what would happen. We saw some weaknesses that weren't working, both from an upper core standpoint and from a lower core standpoint. And we'll just see what happens. And ideally, we'd have a follow-up and we'd say, all right, you walked to the Texas game from the room lot, the Texans won, J.J. Watt threw up his, the ball to you, life was good, and all that came from one correction from our office here at the Yoga Studio. And he could just thank Barbara definitely.
I can make a commercial for you.
You can do that. For Barbara, she's gonna invite you over. So hang on for a bit. We may do some more stuff with you in a bit, but that's mostly what we start trying to look at. Because whenever we look at function, my goal would be for you guys to think outside of the box of normal everyday activities. If you do crunches every single day and your core still doesn't seem like it stabilizes, then maybe there's something else we could try to do to support other areas in order to try and get you to a better performing position. If you go to a doctor and get the same procedure done over and over and over again, but your symptoms remain, maybe we need to try and do those procedures in a different way. In this particular situation, we did it standing, and then we did it laying down on doing different body positions to try and get a different neurologic outcome. Does that make sense? Okay. Can I have someone who can't look all the way up to the sky? Like everybody look at your partner. So this is what we're gonna do. You two are partners, you two are partners, you two are partners. I'll look at you. You two are partners. What I want the person to do that's closest to the parking lot is to look up as high as they can. So person that's not looking up, look at their eyes, their ears, and their seam on their shirt or their shoulder. That should be all straight up and down and in a line. So if you look from the side, eyes, ears, and shirt should all be in a line. You actually did pretty decent. So look up as far as you can. Who does not look straight up and down with their eyes, their ears, and their shoulder all in one line going up and down? Anybody have a partner who doesn't do that? Try that one more time, Rebecca. Decent. Can you do it for me?
Your eyes are in line with your
Better.
shoulder, but not your.
I think we might have one here. Everybody, okay, if you're the partner that's furthest away from the parking lot, look all the way up to the sky. And once again, your goal is to see your eyes, your ears, and your shoulder all looking straight up and down. If that doesn't work very well for your partner, raise your hand.
Your shoulder.
All right, so I think we might have a winner.
Because this right shoulder.
And I've already given some
Okay.
examples.
This shoulder's up, this shoulder.
We look like just the perfect
No, it's
example.
okay. No.
So one second, I'm gonna slide this over just a touch. I want you to have a seat facing the windows over there. So, that's all right, he could be crazy. But he could
Put
be
your
right.
feet on the floor.
Now, feet on the floor for me.
Yeah, right?
I can't put my hands on this.
That's okay, so just relax for a second. So when we talk about improving function, when function goes down, range of motion often goes down as well, and pain usually goes up. And this is usually a side effect of imbalance somewhere in the nervous system, in our structural system, or in our nutritional system. So we're gonna look and see what happens. Linda, correct?
Mhm.
All right, so Miss Linda here is gonna be our guinea pig. We want to be able to see her ear. So I want you to raise your head up to the sky as far back as you can. If we were creating a line between her eyes and her ears and the seam of her shirt, do we get a vertical line like this? No, we can all see that, correct? That would be ideal. Go and relax. Did that hurt when you did that? Okay, so there's no pain, but possibly, assuming there's no genetic defect or some bone aligned weird or something, she should be able to get more range of motion out of her body. It's possible that these muscles are not engaging because bones are not in place, or because brain can't talk to those muscles appropriately, or for one reason or another. Can you bring your chin down to your chest? Does that hurt you at all? Okay. I'm going to do a couple of muscle tests just to see how some of these nerves are working. Is that okay? Okay, go ahead and sit up straight and relax. Hands just like this. Don't let me push your fingers together. So in neurology, separate your fingers the best you can. In neurology, every doctor you've ever seen, from your primary care doctor to your chiropractor to your orthopedist to your neurologist, we all learn a basic neurologic physical exam. And this first nerve, when she separates her fingers, is the lowest one in her neck. The next one, where she squeezes her fingers, squeeze my hand for me, is the next nerve up in the body. And these all seem to be okay. Good. Lightly press down to the floor. Sorry. Oh, just push down to the floor. So that's the next nerve in the neck. Push down. So forth. Bring this up to here. So the good news is, she does not appear to be paralyzed. Push up. And she doesn't appear to have major, bring this to here, neurologic imbalance to the primary stabilizing muscles of her neck. So that was T1 nerve, C8 nerve, C7 nerve, C6 nerve, C5 nerve. It's just basic neurologic physical exam findings. And they all appear to be strong, which is a good sign. But yet we have loss of motion, potential loss of motion, because her eyes, her ears, her shoulder can't go in alignment. Can you look all the way up to the sky again so we can see that right now our angle is more or less here. Does that look accurate to you guys? When it could be potentially here. So let's see if we can just do something to try and help range of motion increase. Because if range of motion goes up, function's more likely to go up, pain's more likely to go down. That's why yoga is a big deal. Because as you do yoga, you stabilize and you move your muscles and you increase range of motion. Your function's probably going to increase also. Your pain's probably going to decrease. Your quality of life is going to do better. Then you tell your friends, that they do yoga, the perpetual cycle happens. This feels just like this. No problem?
No problem.
Unless I don't like you or you don't pay your bill. So go ahead and sit like that for a second. Shoulders back, chin down to your chest. And that doesn't hurt? So all I'm going to do here is start stimulating something in her neck and try and get her to move at the same time. See if we can increase function and increase range of motion at the same time. As I tap here, move your head toward the sky, all the way up as high as you can go. Don't forget to breathe as you're doing this. Good. Chin down to your chest. We're going to do this a couple of times. You know, statistically speaking, women seem to have the most headaches and neck pains in the office when they come in. Look up to the sky. And it's inevitably.
Did you say that women are more of a pain in the neck?
They tend to have more pain in their necks. As we're looking at the cause and whatnot, it tends to be the spouse.
You're on your own.
Look up to the sky.
There you go.
We're outnumbered here.
I wouldn't argue that.
So oftentimes, I was just joking about that. I was trying to get someone in the audience to get in trouble tonight. As I tap there, keep looking up at the sky. Now, neck stuff does seem to happen a lot in women because the neck and neck stiffness tends to be related with gallbladder and hormonal stuff a lot of times. So a lot of times women are talking about how their neck starts to get stiff and their knees get stiff and they start waking up to go to the restroom, then they start gaining weight. In fact, in gallbladder problems, there's the 4 F's of gallbladder issues, and that is fair, so Caucasian women, over the age of 40, that become flatulent, and self-proclaimed fat. So the 4 F's of gallbladder issues typically associate with neck stiffness and neck pain and knee instability and knee pain. So it's a very common trend to see women come to the office and not be able to remove their neck as much as they want. And they're always complaining about neck pain and headaches. And then we start talking to them and they're like, oh yeah, and I get up to go to the restroom at night all the time and I'm more flatulent than I used to be. But I just drink a lot of water. But they drank a lot of water when they were younger and they drank probably a lot of other stuff when they were younger and they didn't have to go to the restroom then. Why all of a sudden does it happen now? And it's usually just the slowing down of that mechanism as nutritionally stuff starts stressing out their physical bodies. So sit up straight and tall. Let's just see what happens. Chin to your chest. Is that still okay? Now we tapped on your neck a few times. Go ahead and move your head all the way up to the sky as far back as you can. Does that look same, better, or worse than before? Better. So now when we do our line, we're still not quite at 100% straight up and down, but we had an improvement. That's a big deal because with more range of motion comes increased function and usually decreased pain. Now the good news is we didn't have pain to begin with, but if we had pain, many times pain goes down as function improves. Can you tell a difference when you move, or are you just listening
Yes,
to
I
the?
can actually.
You can feel the difference? Oh, cool. Awesome, I'm glad we could do that for you. Glad you cooperated with my demo. All right, so, and I'm not trying to call you out with gallbladder stuff if you have it, but that's just a common thing that we see among people with stiff necks is, just gallbladder related issues and hormonal stuff that gets bogged down in that area. And it's usually when they're over 40 and usually when they're Caucasian or fair, that's the textbook answer. And then flatulent and larger than they want to be. That's kind of a bad word, but it's the 4 F's in the textbook. All right, so those are just some things we could potentially do to somebody to try and increase function in their life. Look at them where they are, where they hurt, and then try and increase motion. But do you want to see how we can potentially mess ourselves up? Ways that you can try and prevent at home without coming to see me? I need someone who neurologically works well when they walk. That means their muscle goes weak when I want it to go weak and turns strong when it stays on. Does anybody know that they can do that? Can I just borrow you for a second? I don't know if you can or not, but you look like a good guinea pig. So stand right there for a second. And let me move this right over here. All right, so standing this way, let's just have you take a step with this leg. Just move that, there you go, just like that. So normally this arm would come forward, this arm would go back. This should be strong, push that way for me. And it appears to be so. This arm should be weak. Oh, 1 second, I'm gonna turn you like this. Now push toward me. And that appears to be weak because she starts changing her foot and falling over, which is a good sign. Take a step with the other leg and stop there. This arm with this leg forward, what do we think, strong or weak?
Weak.
Probably weak, because we don't walk like this, do we? We're not Nazi soldiers. No, hope not. That way. And that goes weak. Oops, sorry. With this leg still forward, let's try this arm and push toward me. All right, we have a properly working gait system. So stand up for me. Which means when she walks, the arms are neurologically told what to do, and they coordinate appropriately from a neurologic system. Let's see if we can break her, right? So let's have you turn this way again. Without taking a huge step, just take a normal step like you would with either foot, and stay right there. I stole a couple of pens from Barbara's desk, and we're gonna have her step on them. And that's because neurologically, your feet have a lot of input. So all I've done is just put these 2 pins under each outside bone in her foot. In this position, this should be strong, correct? Right foot forward, left arm straight, should be strong. Let's see if she can tolerate this. Push that way. Try that again. Ready, go. What should be working right now? This muscle. How did we break her?